Hey there friends, how's it going? My name is Frank and today we're looking at 4 stories from r/MaliciousCompliance. And the first story I'll be reading is called Just Hit the Key. I don't think that's a good idea, Grandpa. So let's just jump right in. Remember, face reveal at 100,000 subscribers. We're currently at 5,121 at the time of recording this. From my teenage years. Once upon a time, I owned a 1988 Isuzu Trooper. I loved that vehicle and I put it through hell. It put up with it for a long time, but a trip through Death Valley was the final straw and it blew the head gasket. As I said, I loved this vehicle, so I wanted to keep it. I towed it to my grandfather's house as he had an amazing garage. This man taught me an amazing amount. He was also in the pump field and a master machinist. He was also a Navy boxing champion. About 5'6", bushy white hair and a beard. Built like a brick house with a bottom line you didn't want to cross. Love Grandpa, but don't make him mad. Anyways, I get to his garage and I tell him what happened. We order a replacement cylinder head, gaskets, bolts, and I go to start taking it apart. He stops me. Grandfather, where is it blown? Eh? Which cylinder is leaking? Don't know, I was just going to pull the head. No, first we'll run a scope into the engine to see if it's worth saving. But we need to locate the blow. Pull the spark plugs. So I do. A few minutes later all the spark plugs are pulled, but even with a flashlight, can't see well enough. My grandfather looks at me. Grandfather, turn it over. Grandpa, I don't know if that's a good idea. I said turn it over. Grandpa, it might be. Boy, I said turn it over now. Okay. He leans in close to the engine over the fender with his flashlight, and I hop in and hit the starter. My grandfather is greeted with a face full of oil and coolant blasting out of number 3 cylinder. He stands up with his face, hair, and beard covered and dripping a wonderful brown-green sludgy mixture, slowly pulls a rag out of his pocket and wipes down his eyes and face. I'm trying to keep a straight face. He turns to face me and looks directly into my eyes, beard still dripping, and says, I better not hear an effing word out of you, boy. Yes, sir. I miss that man. Rest in peace, Grandpa. Why are you wearing a white hat? You're not a supervisor. So this story happened around 2003 or 2004. I was in the military working for a new boss who was afraid to look incompetent. I understand his position, but the equipment we were working on isn't used anywhere else in the world, so there's no reason he should have felt self-conscious about it. Literally, everybody posted to this job is starting from ignorance of the kit in question. For your knowledge, we're technicians. Our job is fixing electronics and performing third-line maintenance. Board level, replacing components on equipment. The equipment we were working on are 1.5 metric ton cameras used to acquire telemetry information from our aircraft on bombing ranges. They're really old though, like they were installed in the late 60s. Due to this, we need to start trailing a new system, so the government opened up contracts and a bid was won. We were finally going to get upgrades. At this point, I was an expert on the systems. Our boss went on a leadership course required when you reach his rank, and he dumped everything he had on his plate onto the lap of the second in charge, who was understandably frustrated. I offered to take on the biggest project so there would be less to do, and because I wanted to show that I had the skills. He agreed. So I contacted all the necessary people, PMed, supply, engineers, and transport, in order to orchestrate the removal and disposal of these cameras. After 2 weeks of careful planning and research, we were ready to go. The two in charge grinned at me on the day of the move and said, grab the white hat, this is your project, you're in charge here. Gleaming with pride, I grabbed the site supervisor hard hat, throw it on, and start the ball rolling. Everything is going well and according to plan. The dome housing the camera has been cut off and the truck with the crane arm, capable of lifting up to a metric ton, is on site. I'm about to go dismantle the camera. They're capable of being split into 3 pieces, all weighing under a ton each, when my boss gets out to the range. It's his first day back after his course, qualifying him to be a leader for his troops. Instead of asking for a brief as to what's happening or letting it play out, he decides to puff out his chest and display his newfound levels of authority and command. Loudly, in front of everybody, he says, "Why the F are you wearing a white hat? You aren't the MCPL." Turning red with embarrassment and not having much of a spine back then, I capitulate and apologize, attempting to stammer out that I was assigned this task. He cuts me off. "Whatever, take it off and get back to work." He exchanges hard hats with me, and I'm wearing my yellow worker hat now. He's wearing the white site supervisor hat. Smugly content, he turns to me and says, "Carry on." Here's the malicious compliance bit. I'm the one who did all of the work. I know exactly what needs to be done next. As the person with all the information, the reason I was supervising should be obvious. So I decided it was time for some malicious compliance. He wanted to embarrass me in front of everybody? Turnabout is fair play, my friend. I nodded and said, "No problem, boss. What do you want me to do?" He said, "Keep removing the camera." "I'd love to. How do I do that?" My vapid response came back. "As you're the site supervisor, I'm awaiting your instruction on how to proceed." "What exactly would you like me to do next, boss?" He turned beet red as he realized this means he would have to publicly state that he, in effect, chewed me out for supervising the project I put together as I should have been doing. He swore at me a bit and waved his hand saying, "Just finish the job," turning more red by the minute as higher ranking people caught on to what had just happened. So they started clustering around him, asking pointed questions about the project and process. The absolute glee I felt when the range chief asked him where we were bringing the cameras, and the look on his face when he realized he was going to have to call over to me to answer the question was priceless. But not as priceless as the malicious gleam I caught in the chief's eye when he turned to me. It said, "I understand. I've got your back." That's pretty damn funny. Sounds like a humbling experience for the boss. Bank won't make change. I close my account instead. This happened a few years ago. I was working at a large national chain restaurant as a manager. I was asked to temporarily reassign to a location in a city about an hour away and accepted. They put me up in a hotel, the whole 9 yards. The first weekend I was there, I discovered the GM had screwed up and not ordered any change, small bills or rolls of coins, for the safe, and that the local branch of our bank would be closing in the next hour. I also happened to have a personal account at the same bank, and had in the past gone and gotten change from the branch back home. Since time was tight, I quickly looked up the address of the bank, grabbed $800, and jumped in my car. I get to the bank, wait in line, and then ask them to make change. $400 in $5 bills, $300 in $1 bills, and $100 in assorted rolled coins. The teller tells me that the bank doesn't make change. Me, thinking it was because they didn't know me, informed her that our restaurant had an account she could look up. She then told me, "No, we don't make change at all." The thought going through my brain was, what the hell? You're a bank. I tried explaining the situation, but was quickly shot down. I left, went back to my car, then had an idea. I went back inside the bank with my personal checkbook, got to the front of the line, and luckily the same teller. Before she could even greet me, I held out my checkbook and told her, "I would like to close this account since this bank is no longer customer service oriented." She kind of rolled her eyes, but went about my request. She then asked how I wanted my cash back. An automatic response, I'm sure, and one I was counting on. I said $400 in $5 bills, $300 in $1 bills, $70 in rolled quarters, $25 in rolled dimes, $4 in rolled nickels, and $1 in rolled pennies. The rest can be on a cashier's check. No reason for her to deny it, so I got my change. And the following Monday I returned, closed out the other 2 accounts I had there, and I opened accounts at a different bank where I have been banking ever since. So the story was posted in Malicious Compliance, and it's the top story for this week, but I kind of feel like this should be in Petty Revenge. Either way, it's a good story, and I thought you guys would like it. So on to the next one. He said he didn't care. 2012, working in a call center for a financial institution as a customer service rep. Got calls all the time about ruining birthdays and Christmas for overdraft fees. Was always pretty good at getting the customer to focus on the solution and understand I'm there to help. Call comes in. "Thank you for calling blank. This is blank. How can I help you today?" "You can start by turning my effing card back on." "Sorry to hear that. I can definitely help you with that. Let me just collect some information. What more do you effing need to hear? My card doesn't work, so effing fix it. I understand how that can be frustrating, so let's figure this out together and get it resolved. Whatever, man. So I verify him and do some research, and found out that his card was compromised for malicious charges, so we shut it down, and attempted to reach out the day before. He argues for a while about me not being able to turn his card on, and that we have to dispute the charges and send him a new card. He gets pretty nasty, but I offer to overnight him a card and waive the fee. Just get me a new effing card. Okay, absolutely. I see you had the sports team card. Do you want the same design? I don't give an F what it is. I just need a new card. Okay, sounds good. The new one will be there via FedEx tomorrow. Make sure you're there to sign for it. He hangs up, and I sent him the card with the kittens on it. That's it for today, guys. Real quick, I really enjoy making these videos, and only you can help me continue to do it. A simple thumbs up and comment goes a long way and helps out big time. So with that being said, I'll see you tomorrow.